Hello, welcome back everyone to the second part of the Movies app tutorial in which we are building this Movies app. So in the first part we built the data layer of the movies, in which we built the retrofit in the interface for the API and also the database and the repositories in its implementation. Everything had to do with the data layer. We built that in the first part. Now in the second part we'll be building the UI, this screen that has the popular movies, and then this one with the upcoming movies, and of course this bottom navigation and also these items. So yes, this is what we are building in the second part, and of course in the last part we'll be building this details screen. So yes, let's get started. Before, actually, in the first part I forgot to mention that the movie entity for the database, we need to annotate this with entity. I didn't do that. So yes, this is important for the app to work. And then now we are going actually to close this package which has to do with the data, and we also built this domain package in the first part, in which we had our repository and our model. Now we go to the main activity and we annotate it with underweight entry point for health dagger, and then we create an application class. Maybe app starts with a capital letter. This application class extends the application like this, and we annotate this with health underweight app. Now we go to our manifest. We need to register that app, and we add the internet permission for retrofit. So user interface internet, this one. And I guess we've built, actually, I don't think I built the DI package in the first part. Yes, maybe I didn't. So we didn't actually build our app module. So that's exactly what we are going to start with right now, because I don't remember, but I can't see it here. So we didn't do that. Now we're going to do that. Actually, that's an important part. So in our root package, we're going to create a new package called DI for dependency injection. Inside there we'll have two modules, one called our app module, in which we will inject all the dependencies that have to do with the app, like retrofit and room database. I guess that's all we need. And we will also have another module for repositories, so we could call it repository module. This needs to be abstract class, so just choose class here, and then we'll make it abstract class. But let's start with our app module, which needs to be an object. So our app module will annotate this, of course, with module, and then install in singleton component, install in singleton component class. And inside our app module, let me just create space. We'll first create the interceptor for retrofit, which is just useful login to see what we are doing with our call. So var interceptor, that is HTTP login interceptor, and that is equal to HTTP login interceptor dot apply. We'll now give level a value, which is HTTP again login interceptor dot level dot body. That's just for logs basically. And then we need to create our client, our HTTP client. So private var client is equal to OK HTTP client. That's the type, actually. That's not what it's equal to, but just the type like this, and it is equal to OK HTTP client dot builder and dot add interceptor. We add the one we've created, dot build. I may have a typo here, so interceptor like this. Just like that. Now let's provide the API. So singleton provides fun provides, I'm just going to call it movie API, and this returns our API. So movie API, which is return retrofit, dot builder dot add converter factory, which is JSON converter factory dot create dot base URL. So the base URL, we already created that inside that API, so I can just write movie API dot base URL and dot clients actually now, so client, which is the one we've just created, and build, and now dot create our API. So create our API, which is movie API class.java. So now we provide our API, our movies API. After that, we want to provide our database. So provides singleton. Maybe we right here, I want to put provides first, but it's the same actually, it works in both ways. But yeah, so fun. So provides movie database. That takes application actually, so this needs application, and this will return our database. So movie database, and then return room dot database builder, then we pass our app, and then our database class to Java, and the name of our database, so movie db dot build. I really thought in the previous parts I've created this, but I seem to not, because I thought I did it, but when I checked here I didn't find it, and I was like, what? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Now let's create the repository, because I planned to actually create it in the first part, but I may have forgot to do that. Now in here we provide our repository. We have one repository in this app, so we want to annotate this with module again, and install in singleton component class like this. We will have one function to bind our repository, so binds again singleton, because we want to use this all across our app. Abstract function, which is bind movies repository, so movie, sorry, like this, and that will take our implementation, so movie repository implementation. Is it this one? I don't remember, but yeah, it's that one, because I thought it's called movie repository, but it's movie list repository. That's why I also want to rename this function. So movie list repository. Let's create some space, and then I will return my repository. So repository, or movie list repository, maybe. Movie list repository, yes. I want to inject the constructor, or I already did that right here. So I think now I can just try running the app and see if we are making any API calls right here in the logs, because we don't, that doesn't matter. But if I make an API call, I think I can see the movies here, and if something goes wrong, then we can also see what goes wrong. So let's run the app and hope everything works fine. Wait for it to build, because this is the first time. It might take some time, but no, it actually didn't take any time. It's building, it's running actually, or launching, but I'm running it not in the emulator, so I will choose the pixel and rerun it. So the app actually isn't crashing, but are we getting anything? I'm not actually sure. I can't see anything here. Anyway, I think it's fine. That's what I think, since it's not crashing. That I think, actually I forgot, I did not create the view model. So the app is working, but I didn't create the view model to call those functions that load the movies. I thought I did that, but I didn't. So that's exactly what we are going to do now. Now in our movie list, we are going to create our presentation, or our UI. So let's create a new package called presentation. But the cool thing is that the app doesn't crash, so everything is fine. In our presentation, we create our view model. So a new class called movies view model, or movie list, maybe to stay consistent with the name. So movie list, view model. Yes, maybe this one needs to go like this, and we'll annotate this with health view model. We want to inject the constructor. First of all, we need to extend from view model. That's the first thing. This one, we need a constructor right here and right here as well. So inject constructor. Now inside our constructor, we only need the repository. So private var movie list repository, this one, and we want to create our state first. Actually, inside our presentation, want to create our movie state. So movie list state, and that needs to be a data class. So remove this, and we want to have first a variable that tells us whether we're loading or not. So is loading, that is boolean, and by default it is false, because we're not loading anything at first until we try to load actually. And then the pages, because let's go back to the API. So here we are in the API, we can see that we have pages. So if we try now, try it right like this, what we are loading is the first page, which means if we increase the page, let me click try it now. If we increase the page, then we are getting new movies in the second page. That's why we have pages as well. Also, if you remember in the first part, remote, not mapper but remote, in our API we have pages. This is increasable to get new pages as we scroll down and get more movies. That's why we need to create them. So var popular movie list page, or just page. By default it is 1, so to just get the first page, we duplicate this for the upcoming movies now. So upcoming movie list page, and then we want to have a variable that I'm going to create, and then I will explain what we need it for later when we are going to use it actually. So is current popular, because we have two different, where is the app? We have two different, oops, it's not this one, I seem to uninstall the first one, but if you remember we have two different screens, one for popular and one for upcoming. So to just know in which we are right now, we have this variable. So is popular, this state basically, then boolean is true, maybe is current popular screen, that's a better name, screen like this, if we are in the screen of popular movies right now. And then obviously two states for the list of movies. So var popular movie list, that is a list of movies, this one, and by default it is an empty list. So let me just fix this. We duplicate this again, let's put some commas here, and this is for upcoming. And actually, yes, this is it for our state. After that, we want to create the events class. So inside our presentation, again, a new Kotlin class or file that is movie list UI event. So UI event, that is going to be a sales class actually for now. Inside this, we'll have two events basically. The first one is a data class paginate, and that takes a category to know basically which we are trying to load after we paginate. Movies app, I mean popular apps or upcoming, I mean popular movies or upcoming movies, sorry. So category type string that inherits from movie list event UI event. And the second one is an object which is just navigating between two screens. So navigate, that doesn't take anything actually, so just extends this one, which is movie list UI event like this. And this is it now for our events. Going back to our view model, this is where all the magic happens, you can say. So if you don't know what a view model is, you can go back to my channel. I already created a video about view model in which I explained it in details. So view model is a really important parts of our apps. Basically, we'd have a bunch of view models. In this app, we have two view models, one for this screen with list of movie screen, and then for the data screen we have another view model. This is a very important thing you need to know. If you don't, please go and watch what a view model is and why we need it in the first time. So in our view model, we're going to create our state now. Private var movie state or movie list state. That is going to be a mutable state flow. As I said, I did not create a video about state flows yet, but I'm going to. This is also important. State flows and channels and coroutines, these three topics I really want to make a video about, but that's going to happen in the future soon. So this is our movie list state by default for the initial value of this. Just create space like this and more space here, and then so we're going to create now the one that we are going to expose in our screen. So var movie list state, that is the one we created, movie list state dot as state flow. And actually this is the only thing we need. We can also have channels. If you extend this app, then you can have more states and channels if you want to show toasts in anything for the user, but in this case this is only what we need. In the init block, we want to load the movies, so get popular movies, and duplicate this to get to the upcoming movies. Okay, so now we're going to create these functions. So copy this and private fun, this is the function, and just create the second one as well down here. So private fun. Now before creating these functions, we want to create the on event function to receive events from the user. So fun on event, and that takes an event which is our movie list UI event, and then when event that we have received. And we can use Android Studio to add the remaining branches. For us, we have only two, so these are the possible events. Now what we want to do is in our navigate, we just want to basically say movie list state dot update. We want to update this, and then it dot copy, and then we say is current popular screen is the opposite, basically is, or actually movie list state dot value dot is current popular screen. So what we are doing right here by default, let me just go here, we start from the popular screen by default, you know, and then when we navigate, then we technically go to the upcoming screen, then we assign this to false, which means just the opposite of what we already have. And then we want to come back here, then we assign this to like the opposite of the value right here, which is currently false. Now it's true because we came back here. That's all we need when we want to navigate. And then this is paginate, so let's just copy this and put it right here. This is for navigating. Now for paginating, what we want to do is we want to check the category. So if event.category, which is going back to here, that's what we already have received when we try to navigate, paginate. So if this category is equal to category, I don't remember what I called that. Let me just go back here. Oops, this is it. So category not like this. Category dot, I think I imported the wrong one. It's this one dot popular. Then we want to do something else, or if else, else if that is upcoming. Then we want to do different things, which is just basically calling these functions like this. Okay, as I said, in the API, let's just to understand what's going on in the API, not in the API, but in the implementation, in the implementation of the repository that loads the movies from the API, we have this variable, force fetch from remote, which means the first time we launch the app, then we don't want to force fetch from remote because we want to get those from the database. Unless they're not available in the database, then we go to load them from the API. But when we paginate, we want to get them from the API, because when we paginate, we ask for new movies that we don't already have. That's why both of these functions will now take a variable which is exactly the same as this. That's how this one would know what to do, whether force fetching from remote or not. So just add this, and as I said initially, that is false. We don't want to load from the API, but unless we paginate, then we want to. So true, right here. Now let's try getting the movies. So all of this basically will happen inside a coroutine. So ViewModel scope.launch like this, because that's a suspend function, the function that gets those movies. Then we want to update now our state. So movie list state dot update, and then we say it dot copy is loading is now true because we are loading. So we start loading the movies, and of course at the end of this we will stop loading. So after this, after we tell it that we are loading, we want to now our movie repository dot get movie list, passing our force fetch from remote, and then the category, since we want to load the popular movies, so category dot popular, and then the page, so movie list state dot value dot page of the popular movies, and yes, dot collect latest. We get a result. Why collect latest? Because if we go back here, we get a flow, not just a list of movies, but a flow actually. So we want to get the latest thing basically. So we get a result, and that result can either be, if we go here, a success or an error or loading. So let's check that. So when result, and Underway Studio can add the remaining branches for us, or like this. So in case an error happens, something will happen. I mean, we'll do something, and in case we are loading, and in case we are trying to we get actually the movies. But I want to put loading one at the end maybe, and then when an error happens, we're just going to tell it that we no longer load because we get no movies. So movie, basically just copy this to save time, then we no longer load, so false like this. And then when we are loading, then paste this again, but now the result dot is loading, because we already have an is loading in our resources, so we would know whether we are still loading or not based on what we get from the implementation right here. As you can see, now true, now false, and now this is the most important one for us. When we actually successfully get movies, what we are going to do is we need to check that the data, which is again right here, the one we passed with the success, that is not null. So you can hear birds again. We have birds dot let, because we need to know that this is not null. So this let block makes sure that the data isn't null, because it is nullable. So after that, we get actually a list of movies. So we can just say popular list like this. And right here, what we are going to do is we need to update our state again. So movie list dot update, and it dot copy. Now we want to update our movies, our popular movies. So popular movie list is equal to the one we already have. So movie list state dot value dot popular movie list, and then we need to add the new movies. So plus popular list dot shuffle to just shuffle those movies, and every time have them in a different order, basically every time we launch the app. Okay, after that we need to increase the page, because now we loaded just the first page, because right here this is set to 1, so this is the first page. When we paginate, we want the second page. So right after we load these, we want now to increase the page. So we put a comma and then say popular movie, what is that, list page, and is again movie state dot value dot popular movie list stage, list page plus 1. We add 1 to that. If you use plus plus, it won't work, just to know. And actually, yes, this is it for our function, and this one is still empty. But you know what we are going to do? Just copy this, because it's literally the same thing but with a different list. Paste that there. So let's see what we are going to change. First of all, we want to change the category, so upcoming, and this is the upcoming page, so upcoming movie list page. After that, right here, this is again upcoming. Maybe I just need to copy this and paste it right here, and right here, not here, but this one is upcoming movie list page, upcoming movie list page, and this is, we named this popular list. Maybe now we can name it upcoming list. Copy this and paste it right here. I guess this is it for the view model. I don't think I need anything else in the view model. This is the two lists that get the movies, and we update the state according to what we get. Now in my main activity, I'm just going to create an instance of that view model and run the app. Hopefully now everything is fine. So far, movie list view model is a health view model, that is the one we created. So movie list view model. So run the app, because once we create this instance, then the init block right here will fire and we can get the movies. Hopefully we see what we are getting right here in logs. So run this now. Wait for it. And maybe the app crashed or what happened. It says invalid app key, but okay. So this is now the request we made, which is this one. This is the URL for upcoming movies, the pages one, and this is the API key. And now for the popular movies. And now I'm just going to put my API key, because I didn't want to show the API key in the video. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back. Okay, now in my movie API, I put my API key. So let's rerun the app and see now what's going to happen. And actually, yes, everything is fine. Here are our list of movies. So everything is here. As you can see, this is the first movie. What is its title? Maybe this is a Trolls Band something. So these are the list. This is list of our movies. So everything is fine. Now if we relaunch the app, this is now the most important part. Let's close the app and then relaunch it. We actually technically shouldn't make an API call, because we should get things from the database, hopefully. So let's run and see. So let's search now for this is list of movies that we, you know what, this is confusing. Let's just rerun this, because I'm confused with the first things so now the app is running. Yes. So let's check the logs. Yes, we didn't make an API call, and we already have the movies right there in the database. So let's now start creating the lists. I mean the screens basically. So we can now close this. We don't need that anymore. We can also close this. In my in my roots package, I'm going to create a core package in which we'll have my home screen basically. In this, I'm also going to put my main screen, my main activity right there. So in my core package, basically this is presentation. This needs to be inside presentation. But my core package doesn't need any data or data layer or a view model or anything. And now after that, I'm going to create my home screen. And let's just run the app and show you what the home screen is. The home screen is where we have this top bar and this bottom bar. That's the home screen. And also the home screen contains both of these screens basically, or the navigation host of these two screens. And these actually are different screens. So what we scroll here is these are two different screens. Now before creating my home screen, I'd like to go to my main activity and just create the navigation. So right here, we actually don't want to create an instance of this view model right here, but instead in the home screen, but I will do that later. We need to create a val nav controller, this one that is remember nav controller, and then we create a nav host like this. The nav controller is the one we've created, and we don't want graph, we want to start destination here. Let's just format this. So the start destination is of course the home screen, which is screen.home.route. If you don't know where I get these from, I already explained them in the first part. This is them. These are the 4 screens that we have, so I created this set class for them. So inside here, we want to have a composable for our home screen. So composable, that is our screen.home.route, and inside there we'll call our home screen. I don't think I've created the function yet, so fun, that is composable, and yes, like this. Let's go to main activity, so right here home screen, and then the second composable is for the details screen basically. So details right here, details.route, but this one needs to actually take an argument which is the movie ID to actually tell it what movie we're trying to show its details. So movie ID like this, and after that go to a new line like this, and arguments, so we want to have a list of arguments. Arguments is list of nav arguments, and the name is this basically. After that the type is a nav type, I mean not integer but a string, I guess. Oh no, it's integer actually, because the ID is an integer. And here we want to call our details screen, but I don't have that yet, so I can just copy that and paste it right here and comment this out because I don't have the screen yet. But in my details screen I also need to pass the back stack entry, or this one, the nav back stack entry, but I think I just want to call it back stack entry to get actually that ID which we have right here. So now in our home screen, basically actually before, if you can see right here, the top bar, I mean the status bar is not, normally it has the primary color, and if I scroll down right here I don't think I can find that, but its color is different. You can say it's blue or something, but I want it to be just like the same color as this bottom bar. So I need to create a function for that inside my activity, which is a composable function to change its color. So private fun set, I can just call it bar color, and that takes a color. Okay, that is now val system UI controller, this one, and that is remember system UI controller, and then inside a launched effect, so a launched effect, and the key is our color. So once the color changes, then we want to change this. Okay, now we want to say system UI controller dot set bars color, and the color that we have passed right here, and inside our theme we want to call that one. So set bar color, and the color is material theme dot color scheme dot inverse on surface. So yes, if we run the app, it should be different now, not in this app but the one we are creating. Yes, as you can see. So in my home screen, actually my home screen also needs the nav controller to navigate to the second screen. So just what is that, this one, I'm just going to copy it like this and go to the home screen and paste it right there, and then I just pass that to the home screen. That's the only thing I need to pass away. So in the home screen I need to import this. Okay, right here we want to create now our view model. So var movie list view model is health view model, and that is our view model. So movie list view model like this. Let's create space, and now let's create our states that we receive from there. So var movie state, that is movie list view model dot movie list state dot collect as state dot value, and then we want to create a nav controller, actually a second one, but only for the bottom bar, basically for the bottom navigation bar. So var basically just the same as this, so just know, so bottom nav controller, that is now remember nav controller like this, and we'll have a scaffold. So that scaffold inside the constructor right here, we want to have a bottom bar, and after that we want to have a top bar as well, so top bar, and that's all we need to have inside right here. Let's just use these padding values to get rid of this error. So let's just create a box that takes a modifier dot, modifier dot padding, and then the it like this, just the padding values that we have right here, and the error is gone. Maybe we have something, we need to add this annotation process something. And now inside our bottom bar we can say a bottom, but actually a function. I did not create it, so we need to create a function for that. Okay, so that's a composable. I think this video may be too long for all the screens, that's why I may actually just create the home screen in this video, and then in the next part I will create the list screens, because I think this will be too long. So fun bottom bar and bottom navigation bar, that's what I'm going to call it. And that takes this one, the one we've created, the bottom nav controller basically. Create it right here, so bottom nav controller, that's a nav controller, or in fact a nav host controller, not a nav controller. And we need an on event lambda, because this is where we navigate between the two screens. This is where we have the bottom bar, that's why we navigate here. So on event, and that takes a movie, oops, I need to put something like this, movie list UI event, and it returns unit. Okay, now I create a list of items, but we need to create a data class for that first. A data class, which is just a bottom, I'm going to call it a bottom item, and that takes two things, which is a title of type string, and then val icon of type string as well. Okay, after that I need to create now the list, which is just a list of two items. So var items is a list of bottom item, and the title for the first one is what was that? I don't, popular, yes, popular. And then the icon is icons dot rounded dot movie, that's the icon. Maybe the icon isn't a string, the icon is an image vector actually, not a string. So just like that, the error is gone, and we create a second item. So just copy this, paste it, and that is upcoming, and this one as well, upcoming. Okay, after the list we need to know which one is selected, just the state. So var selected, that's what I'm going to call it, that is remember savable. Even if we, for example, rotate the screen or something, then this would still be fine. So we can have this as a state inside our movie list state, but let's just have it like this. You can add it if you want. This is a mutable int state of 0. So by default the first one is selected, and inside it we can create now our navigation bar basically, which is a row. That's what we are going to have, a row. And let's import row. Now in our row we want to have a modifier, so to have just a background, so background, which is material theme dot color scheme dot inverse on surface, the same as we gave the status bar. And inside our row we'll call items like this, dot for each. In index, items is just the list of items that we've created, that's what items is. You just call the other one, not this one. So for each, this one, that gives us the index and the bottom item if we need to use them. And in here we'll have a navigation bottom bar item. So we just put these in different lines like this to organize them. And this one as well, it's not formatting by Underwood Studio, I have to do it manually. Anyway, the selected one is the selected item dot value basically, dot int value, and is equal to index. So if this one that I selected is the index of this one that I'm in right now, then that's true, then that's one that is selected. And in the on click I will do something that I will explain later, but let's go now for the icon first. Inside the icon we can just have an icon and the image vector is the item, in bottom item dot icon. The content description is the bottom item again dot title, and I also need to have a label that is just a text, and the text is item bottom item, that's what it's called. The title and the color, actually a color for both the icon and this title. So the tint right here is going to be material theme dot color scheme dot on background, and just copy this color for this other one. So color like that, format this. Now let's go to the on click, which we are interested in. Now inside our on click, what we are going to do is we're going to change the selected one first. So this one, selected dot int value is index. So when we click now on an item, then this int value is going to be the one that we clicked on, and then we also change this one because that's how we do it. And then we check now the selected one. So when selected dot int value is 0, we do something, and when it is 1, we simply do a different thing. So when it is 0, what we are going to do is we'll call our own event function and then say movie list event dot navigate, because we want to navigate now to a different screen, and then we want to navigate. So this one, bottom nav controller dot navigate to our other screen, which is screen dot now we are in, just hide this, now we are in the popular screen because that's 0. We want to go to, now we are in the upcoming screen. Since we clicked on this one, then we want to go back to the popular one. So navigate to popular screen dot popular. I'm not sure if this is the right screen, just delete that screen. This one dot popular list, movie list dot routes, it's actually the one. And we also want to pop this from the backstack, because if we keep click on the same bottom item, then we keep navigating to the same screen, and all of that will be in the backstack, and we don't want that. So bottom nav controller dot pop backstack, we copy this, we paste it right here, we change the screen to upcoming, and that's it actually for the bottom nav, bottom navigation. Now up here, let's now have our bottom bar, so bottom navigation bar, and we pass the bottom nav controller and then the on event, which is our ViewModel dot on event. So ViewModel, that is called movie list ViewModel dot, or just like this, on event. Now in our top bar, we want to have a top bar. Surprise, we want to have a top bar, and the title, it starts with the title actually. I don't know why Android Studio isn't formatting this. Anyway, in our top bar, we want to have a text. Let's just bring this one back down like this. We want to have a title, which is eventually just a text, and the text is in fact, let me just search for something. Yes, right here. These one are just, I don't want them to be here. I'm going to put them inside the string resources, so just to support translation and yeah, everything like that, and bring this to a new line. And then so right here the text is going to be, now it depends, because if we go to the state, we have this variable that tells us where we are. Now we have that variable just to have the right title basically. So the text is if, so if movie state dot is popular screen, or is current popular screen, then the text is going to be, let's just bring these to new lines. I don't know what's wrong with Android Studio. The text is going to be popular screen or popular movies, like this, and then else it is going to be upcoming movies. So like that. I also want to put these inside the string resource, so string, and here as well. Good. So that's now for the text, and I also want to make it a little big. So after this, let's put comma and say font size, let's say 20.sp, import sp, and this is it for the text, so it ends right here. After that, we want to have a modifier for our app bar, a modifier just for the shadow to have some elevation, basically 2.dp. In dark mode you can't really see that elevation, but in light mode you can see it, and it makes sense to have it right there. Anyway, the color now, so colors, that is top bar. I don't know why we have to set the color like this, but top bar defaults dot small. It's weird, you can just set the color with the modifier, so material theme dot color scheme dot inverse on surface. Now this is it for our top bar. Inside here, the content of our scaffold, we'll create now our nav controller for the two screens, basically. So right inside here, we also want to fill the max size, actually, so just do this and dot fill max size. So a nav host, basically, that's what we need, and the nav controller is the bottom nav controller. The start destination is going to be screen dot popular screen dot row. That's what we start with. Bring this to a new line like this, and we'll have now two composables for the two screens. The first one is screen dot popular list dot route, and this doesn't take any arguments. In right here we'll have now our popular screen, so popular screen list, or just popular movie, maybe popular movie screen, that's a better name. And just copy this and like this. So let's just comment these because I haven't created them yet. And actually let's just run the app. I've called my home screen. Let's just run the app, and hopefully we see our bottom bar and our top bar. So yes, but I seem to make the text right there too small. I said 2dp, in fact it's 20 sp. Let's rerun this. And actually, yes, here is my top bar, or the app is crashing for some reason because I don't have that screen. I tried to navigate to a screen that I don't have. Anyway, what we did in this video is creating the view model, which is the brain of this app. So we created the view model. We created the home screen with its up bar, top bar, and also the nav host. And also in my main screen, I've created the nav host and changed the color. So this is what we did in this video. In the third part, we are going to then to create the screens, the lists of movies, and the third part. And then in the last part, we're going to create the details screen. So this is it for this video. As always, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'll leave a link in the description, and also I will leave a link for this app in the description. You can find it on GitHub. And yes, see you in the next part, and bye.